So in this video I want to show you how we can connect the Digitone here to the Tonverk and have the Tonverk control Digitone, have the audio from the Digitone go out here through the left and right into the Tonverk, how we can use MIDI control to enable this, and how we can then integrate our Digitone into the effects and effect sends of Tonverk. That's the goal of this video. So what we'll look at first is the settings we need on the Digitone here. I've got this tone on the channel here, and I have just two tracks, 1 and 2. On this second track I have a pad. Here I have this tone. Now we can go into our settings here, and we need to set the MIDI config up. So here I've got the MIDI, let's start with the MIDI out. I've got this MIDI out cable connected to the MIDI in on the Tonverk, and this MIDI in on the Digitone goes to the MIDI out on the Tonverk. Those are the connections. The left and right here go to the inputs A and B on Tonverk. We'll come to that in a second, I'll show you that. What we need to do though is to set up our MIDI config here. So we go in here and yes, and we'll start with our sync. Now I've cleared all of these to make it easier to understand. We want Digitone to be the slave effectively to the Tonverk. Everything is going to be sent from Tonverk, all the MIDI information, and we want this just to respond to that. So the first we need to do is to set the clock receive. That means we will receive clock from the Tonverk. We will sync effectively the sequencer of Tonverk with the Digitone. We'll receive a clock signal, tick, 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 and the Digitone will respond to that. We don't want to send clock because we're acting as a slave. We do want to receive transport, this one here, which are these controls here. So we want to be able to start, stop Tonverk, Digitone, sorry, from Tonverk. That's the objective. So we need that one to be set. I'm not going to go into it in this video, but if we wanted to receive program changes, we'd activate this. There is a possibility to change patterns, I believe, on these two machines. So I can send controls from the Tonverk to change the patterns that are being played on here. But I'm not going to get into that. I want to keep it simple to begin with. Okay, let's come out of that one then. The port config, we don't need turbo speed. Tonverk doesn't support that. And we do need to have our input, MIDI input. This you can either set to MIDI plus USB, because I also use USB here. This is MIDI, and this is MIDI over USB via the. You could set this to simply MIDI if you wanted to. I tend to use this with software and things like that on the computer, so I'll leave it at MIDI plus USB. Comes out of both ends in parallel. And the output here, this MIDI out, also the same, MIDI plus USB. Those two settings we need. Let's have a look. Okay, so we'll leave the encoder destination to internal and all of these things. Receive notes, we need to receive notes, and we need to receive change control. So these two need to be ticked here, so we can send those from Tonverk. And the rest we'll leave as it is. Okay. So let's come out of here, and finally the channels. There's nothing we should have to do here. These are the 16 channels on Digitone. Track 1 here receives on channel 1 MIDI. There are 16 MIDI channels. Track 2 is on 2. Track 3 would receive on MIDI channel 3, etc., all the way through to 16. So we don't have to do anything there. Okay, so that should be it now. So let's go over to the Tonverk. Okay, so on Tonverk I have the input from the Digitone coming in on A and B. I'm not using the outs here. I'm sending audio via USB, but you'd have your outs here to your monitors or whatever. So I'm coming in with Digitone A and B. I've got the MIDI in on Tonverk connected to the MIDI out on the Digitone, the MIDI out on Tonverk connected to the MIDI in on Digitone. Okay, and then I have a new project here, and we'll go through, we'll set this up now so that we can communicate with Tonverk. And to do that, we go into our settings here, and let's first of all have a look at our MIDI config, and we'll look at our sync. And what I want to do is I want to send clock. So these are all deactivated at the moment. I want to send clock. I want this to be the master, setting the clock and keeping the two instruments in sync. So I will set this to send. I don't want to receive transport. These are these controls here. I don't want to receive them, but I do want to send them, which means that I can press play here. The Digitone will start to play. And I don't want program receive, but you might want program send if you're working with your instrument to change programs, or on the Digitone you change patterns and things. I'm not going to set it in this one, in this video. I'm just going to leave that blank, but you can set that and you can send program change messages from Tonverk. Okay, so that's the MIDI settings set up. Come out of there. We'll look at the port config. I have my input here coming via both USB and MIDI here. So I receive MIDI in and I receive MIDI via USB. There's an option here to just have MIDI or just USB. I'll leave it like that. Then my output is also the same. I'm sending out through MIDI here. Now this is separate, the USB. I'm not using that in this instance. I'm just using these two cables to communicate. But as I say, I could change this to simply MIDI here if I wanted to, if I want to simplify everything. But I usually keep it on that because then I can work with instruments external and software instruments as well. Okay, so we can receive notes here as well if we want, or change controls. You can deactivate these if you start getting problems, start getting weird responses from the other instruments. Just deactivate these two so that you don't receive anything coming into Tonverk. So Tonverk just sends purely information. Actually, we'll turn those off for now. We'll turn those off. So just to be clear, that means this thing is not receiving anything. It's just the master it's sending. Okay, we'll come out of here now. And our channels, we can select the MIDI channel on Digitone later when we put a MIDI machine on here. So we're not going to worry about any of these things here. We have program change in channel, program change out channel, but we're not going to be sending any of those things. So we don't have to worry about these. We can leave those as they are. Okay, so let's come out of here and look at our audio routings. Now, the first thing you might want to do is to hold this down. For some reason it doesn't work with function. It's a bit of a weird one. So you just have to drop this down. I'd drop this down to 0 dB. It depends, of course, on the instrument you're using. This is the volume level gain coming in, so that would have been plus 12 decibels. And then you have these two options here. External audio in pattern. You also have out AB, out CD, so you can get the audio coming in from Digitone and send it directly to the out CD. You can send it directly to the out AB here. If you do that, you'll always hear the audio and you can't manipulate it in any way within Tonverk. If you want to manipulate the audio with effects, then you need to have this on pattern. I'll set that one, my USB as well, to pattern. If we have it in pattern, it means that we can direct the audio from our external instrument, Digitone, and we can send it into a track. We can use the effects on the track. We can also send that track through the 4 buses here and add additional effects, and then out via the mix channel 16. So we set that to pattern. Okay, so now we're on track 1. At the moment, we can do nothing. So let's get this to work. if we go to function source and put here our MIDI now, our MIDI instrument or MIDI machine, we need to then hold the function and press this first button, first dial, and that activates the channel. Now, still not hearing anything. Let's have a look. What's going on? Well, we've set up our MIDI, but we haven't set up our audio. So we need now to go into channel 16 here, and then we need to be on the source page, and we have out AB, out AB. If I turn this up, or in this instance, I don't want it to go to out AB. That's effectively the audio from Digitone coming in and going straight out of the output here. No effects, no manipulation, straight out. What we want to do is to change this one here, out AB. We want to change this to the track number we're using. In this instance, we're using the 1. We're coming in and using track 1 with our MIDI machine and our audio now via track 1. So if we go back to track 1, we have the channel set here. Here you could turn on your, as I say, program changes, bank changes, whatever. I'm not going to go into that in this video. I should mention as well, the channel here. If I change this channel to control a different channel, this is now channel 2. I'm now controlling MIDI channel 2 on a Digitone. Now there are 16 channels on a Digitone, 16 tracks, so I can control each of those 16. Now, I have a different tone. So this is my method for choosing which of the 16 tracks I wish to control on a Digitone. So we can come out of here now and go to our FX. Now, we're affecting the Digitone input. We can function FX here. Let's put a chrono pitch, it's an easy one. Whoa. Oh, almost had it on the 7 there. We'll leave it on 7. Let's turn that one down a little bit. Okay, so now we can use our chrono pitch to adjust, so we can affect it now with our 2 effects here. We could just put something else on here. Let's put just go for the degrade. Yes, the easy one to demonstrate. Okay, so now we have these effects working. On our Digitone input. Okay, I think you get the idea. So, as I say, we have now these 2 things working. We could also manipulate with our LFOs. We can manipulate these effects now. Let's have a go at maybe adjusting what would be good, something we'll hear. Well, let's just do the bit reduction, yes, so we can. So we can also use our LFOs on the effects. Okay, that's an example. And the next thing we can do is, let's go back here. We could assign controls here, CC controls. We could activate these. I don't know. I'm not sure what this is connected to on the Digitone. Like pitch or something, I'm not sure. Okay, but we can activate these and control Digitone here. And if we want to change these values, we go to the second page. We can put in our own specific CC values here. We can change these values. We've got 70, 71. So we can also now, let's see what the second one does. No idea. Anybody know the clangers when they were a kid in England? There you go. All right, okay, so that all works as well. So we now have MIDI control, and we have 2 banks of these. Sorry, we have a second bank here. So we have 16 controls with which we can control the Digitone from Tonverk. Okay, what else do we have? Then, well, the final thing is our routing. If we go into function routing now, and at the moment we're going to mix AB, that's going straight out of the AB at the back here. But of course we can change this now to bus 1. Bus 1 is this here. So let's come out of that, go to bus 1, and we can now put, well actually if I go back to 1 for a second, go back to 1, put the FX, just to give you an example, turn off the reverb here, go to 9 now. Now we have the reverb here, and we can use the effects on we can use the effects on this bus as well. And of course we can use the final effects here. We can have it coming through track 16. We can put a compress here. So there you go. Those are the things that are possible now. We can, as I say, we can control the audio. Go back to 1. We can control the audio. We can control the MIDI. And finally, I guess we could, let's just do something very simple on track 1. Let's go to here a second. Make sure these are off. I'll turn these off. And we'll go to 9. We'll turn off that reverb for a second. And go back. Let's go to 1 again and turn off everything here. Let's just get rid of all this. Right, so well, I've seemed to have sent something with the CC values on to the Digitone. I wasn't sure what they were doing. Let's just go and make sure we don't have any other effects on here. Here we go, this one of course. Let's get rid of that. So we'll just reset everything. Okay, so we're back to 1 now. We've got no effects. We're here. Let's just put down just a very simple, I don't know. Let's go to trig. Maybe we can play something in, risk it. Okay, so we have a sequence playing now. It's a little bit quiet. I've affected something on the Digitone. Now, what can we do with this? Well, this is coming from the Digitone, so if I wanted to capture this, I could go here into my recorder, and yes, and I could sample this now. I could set my my source here to track 1, because I'm working on track 1. I can set the length to, let's say, 1 bar, and turn it off for a second. Adjust our threshold a little bit here, and we'll arm that now, and there we go. We have now we can loop this actually. So we've captured the audio coming in from Digitone. As always, I hope this video has been useful and you can make use of it to enjoy your music a little bit more. Thank you for watching and take care. Goodbye.